What's up guys, Rob from Vizualogic. Today we're going to be doing an install on a 2016 Chevy Suburban. I'm going to jump into the contents of the kit for the Phoenix 7 system. What you're going to get is you're going to get two perfect match headrests, two sets of breakout cables to make your power and ground and sharing connections, and your box A, which will include all of your accessories and tablets, but we'll get that in a minute. Tools you're going to need to complete the install: basic drill with a size 10 Torx, multimeter, plastic panel popper and zip ties, some crimpers to make your T-tap connections, and some pliers to actually attach the T-taps to the wires once you get there. Alright, next I like to find my power location. Today I want to go to the back of the center console, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how this disassembles. Now I've already pre-disassembled this console, but I'm going to show you how I did it. In here, you're going to find 4 screws. There will be 2 in the top, which I don't know if you can see it very well. You're going to have it there, and you're going to have them there. Then there's going to be a rubber mat down here at the bottom. You want to pull that out. And then you're going to notice that there's going to be another 2 screw holes down here. You're going to need to remove all those screws. Those are going to be with a size 10 Torx. So now the tricky part is, in order to not damage this console piece, what you want to do is you want to start from the bottom. You're going to pull out and up. And when you do that, it's going to come out. You can kind of notice here that everything is angled upwards. So if you pull it straight out, you risk damaging the console. So up and out, and you're going to expose everything here. Now here's the back of my cigarette lighter plug here. On the bottom, there's a clip. You press the clip, pull straight out, and you can see the clip right there. So now I want to find out which of those 2 is power and ground. So I'm going to grab my tester real quick. We'll test those up and see where we're going to be making our power connections. Alright, now I grabbed my Power Probe 3 here, plugged it into the battery up front. And the reason why I like this tool is because not only can I shoot power and ground down a test wire, but it also gives me light. And if I put it on a wire with power, it's going to give me my voltage. If you decide to use a multimeter, that's fine. This is just what I prefer. So right there, I'm going to start off with my black wire. I'm getting a solid negative signal. Then I'm going to go to my other wire. And right there, I'm getting a little residual voltage. If I turn the key, I should be getting a 12 volt positive, so I'm going to do that real quick. Now that the vehicle power is on, you notice that I've got 12.2 volts. So this right here, that wire will be my positive, which will connect to the yellow, and then my black will be my ground, which will connect to my black. Alright, next thing I like to do is focus on my breakout cables. I make my connections before I jump into the vehicle. The reason I do that is because it just makes it faster and simpler for me. Don't have a bunch of cables going around, everything's nice and clean. You'll notice that here we've color coded what goes to what, right? On both sides. So I always start off with my sharing. We maled and femaled these RCAs for you so that when you make your connection, nice and easy. You'll notice here you've got your audio input. Your audio input will be the input for whatever side you're plugged into. So on our power breakout cable, you've got your power and your ground, and you have 2 audio outputs. Those audio outputs are going to be always outputting. So you don't have to worry about whether you're using 1 or 2. 1 can be used for an auxiliary if the vehicle has it, or if it needs to be left open because you're not going to use it, that's fine too. Stop it. Alright, now we're going to move on to the seat back removal. On this one, see these little clips down here? They clip actually underneath the seat to the metal bracing, so that's to hold this little flap down. Next, you'll notice here on the sides that we've got zippers all the way up the side of the seat back. Down below, you can notice that in this little pocket here, they'll flip these in there and you'll have your zipper exposed. So that's what you're going to use. You want to be very careful though when you unzip these, because if you get a little rough, you risk damaging the zipper. So just make sure you're careful with it, but we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, now that we've got the seat unzipped, we've got our J-clip removed, which is a little difficult sometimes. Next, you're going to flip the seat open, exposing everything in the inside. Now at the bottom in the corners, this Velcro is attached here to this seat back. It's very strong, but you have to remove it in order to flip this up. So once you have it flipped up, now we're ready to remove our headrest and run our wires. All right, now we're going to move on to the headrest. On this vehicle, you've got a release on one side. You also have a smaller button release on the other side. Previous models, you actually had to use a pick tool to get in here to release this headrest. Luckily, we don't have to do that today. We just have to hit some buttons. So you're going to depress both buttons at the same time and pull up. Headrest will come straight out. Next, we're going to put in our headrest. What I like to do is I like to take the headrest, put it in the front seat. That way I know which cable goes where, nothing gets confused. Now today, I'm starting off with my passenger side. You don't have to, but a general rule of thumb is to make your passenger side your B side. So that's what I'm doing today. Just fish those cables down in there until they kind of bottom out. All right, now we're going to look in here and we're going to see our cabling right there. So I just want to grab it, kind of pull it through a little bit more. Then next we're going to grab our headrest. Push the rest of the cables all the way through. Depress your buttons here. You're going to put it down. Okay, you want to make sure everything moves properly, it's sitting correctly. And then before you do any kind of cable tying inside the seat, you want to make sure that the headrest is in the utmost locked position when you do it. Right? Utmost locked. That way the headrest can have full motion after you get everything connected. Nothing's tight inside the seat back. Alright, we'll move on to routing the cables. Alright, now I've routed all my cables. You can kind of see I left my zip ties uncut, so you can kind of see the route that I took. Running with the factory cabling, coming down, coming up under the seat, still with my factory cabling, and then down into the carpet. Now, I did run my cables out this direction. So I have those cables sitting right there. My next step is going to be making sure that this seat will move in every position, not making those cables tight. That way I can know how much slack I need in here. Very important step. It can cause a lot of warranty issues if you don't do this step. Again, you don't have to go through the carpet. Some people like to just route it down below, come underneath the side and into the console. This is just the route that I decided to go. If you do decide to go this route, there are more panels that you have to remove. This side piece being one of them, the running boards. That way you can get underneath the carpet here and get up into the center console. So let's check our seat position and then we'll go from there. Alright, now that we've finished wiring all of our cables and everything, we're going to put this seat back on, get it all clipped up. We're going to start on the other side. That way we can get our power connection and be done with this install. Alright, so final step, we're going to connect our power points. Now you remember before when we did our test, we had our black as our ground, and then we had our purple and yellow as our power. Now I like to use T-taps. Some people, are completely against them. I've never had a problem with them as long as you use them correctly. So here, I've already T-tapped one of the wires. I have another one here so I can show you how to actually make the connection. So when I do it, I make sure to start off with this point here and close it up with a nice sized pair of pliers. Make your connection. You also want to check and make sure that it's not loose, coming out, anything like that, so you don't have any future problems. Next, I've got my power cables here, all taped up and separated. I've separated my driver's side and passenger side, made all my connections beforehand. That way when I come in here, I don't have to have any questions, I don't have to worry about where all my stuff is going to go. Everything is just already connected. Now after making your crimps, you want to kind of give them a tug, make sure everything's connected properly. You don't want these things coming out after you've got the panels put back on. So the next thing that I'll do, bring it down here, pick your passenger side and your driver's side, and you're going to want to plug in to your post cables. Alright guys, next, before we get this panel snapped all the way back on, I want to make sure that I'm testing my headphones, I'm testing the functionality of my DVDs and everything before I hide all of my connections permanently. So what I like to do is I start off on one side. Because this is the B, I'll click it to B, check my headphones, I have audio, then on the other side I'll click on A, and then do the same thing. Once I've done that, I want to make sure that everything is sharing, so I'll pick one side, hit source, let it switch over. Now I'm viewing the other side, so my video connection's good. Check my audio connection is good. And then I can unsource my DVD here. And we'll go to the other side and do the same thing, verifying that I can share in both directions. You also want to check out the games and everything, make sure they're acting the same way as the DVD, just a couple extra steps. Make sure you're checking the FM transmitter on both units. Sometimes different people like to use different headrests as the master. It's always good to just verify that those are working so you avoid a call later on. So now that I've got everything working, I can go ahead and put my panel back on. After that, we'll be ready to go, ready to give this back to the customer, and thanks for watching.